Hey everybody, and welcome back to Split Couch Games. I'm Scott,
And I'm Ben.
and this is Couchcast number 63. We're probably not surprisingly talking about YouTube's changes to their monetization policy, as you can probably tell that it affects us. And then we're going to kind of talk about Nintendo Labo a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, if we have time for it, we will talk about that, but we may end up talking about the monetization changes for the entire duration. It just kind of, it depends.
Yeah.
So
I think that's the most important topic, and then Nintendo Labo will be a fun conversation if we have time for it.
yeah.
But yeah.
I figured $70 cardboard would be fun to talk about.
It's $70?
Yeah. That's why I figured it would be fun to talk about.
Alright,
I thought
well,
you knew that.
I didn't know the price. I literally, like, I saw what it was, and then I was like, okay, Nintendo's doing something with cardboard, and everyone's freaking out. Whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's hurry up and get through the YouTube stuff, because I got some things to say about that. But anyway, so for those who don't know, Nintendo has changed their monetization policy again. Middle of last year, to help rectify the ad apocalypse thing, they set it to where you had to have 10,000 lifetime views on your channel in order to join the monetization program, which I think was fairly reasonable, and I think a good change, because it kind of kept people from just like putting stuff up and then monetizing it, trying to go viral with it.
Yeah.
So that seemed fine. So now they decided that they're going to change it to, you need to have 4,000 hours of watch time in the last year, and then
Yeah,
1,000
12 months.
and 1,000 subscribers on your channel.
Yeah.
So fun fact, we have the watch time on this channel,
Yeah.
but not the subscriber base.
Yeah, the watch time is easy for us, I guess. And that's probably because of the density of our videos.
Yeah.
Since we did, one video a day, 7 days a week for, a year.
Well, I mean, that was the first year, though. That wasn't last year.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, so because of that,
Oh, yeah.
and then, the subsequent years, we have, like, well over 500 videos on the website, so...
Yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah, so we have a bit of an advantage. Fortunately, no subscribers. Anyway, that's fine.
Well, and that's part of the conversation is our subscriber number. And we have like 645 or something like that right now.
43 as of recording, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So 643. And like that's all well and good. Like that's great. But realistically, in terms of like how we're going to react to the monetization changes, our subscriber count has...
Well, do we want to talk about that after we talk about the change as a whole, or do we want to talk about that now?
Well, I was just going to do like a brief thing, and then we were going to talk about the changes as a whole. But anyways, as I was saying, we... the number of our subscribers is going to directly relate to how we react in more ways than one. Like, it's not just like, we don't have 1,000, so this is how we're gonna change. Our audience period is going to have an effect on the changes that we implement. And now we're going to talk about the changes.
Okay.
That's all I was going to say.
Gotcha. Yeah, so I think like the biggest thing, and I think like when I first saw this, because we got the email, you actually sent it to me, and I was like, what the hell, why is this happening? And I was like, oh, it's as a result of Logan Paul, and I was like, that's not fixing that problem. But you know, like really thinking about it, listening to some other people talk about like Philip DeFranco and Boogie. I can never remember the numbers at the end of his name.
2988. Yep.
Yeah. And just like that, this is more of a continuation of last year as they kind of adjust what they did before as opposed to a response to this year. I think the timing is just kind of bad on that.
Yeah.
And I sort of see why it happened. Because yeah, like people are still, and like, cause they're focusing on cutting out new channels that are there to game the system. And I think that that's a reasonable and fair thing to do. But I think that it screws over channels like ours. So I kind of have a suggestion that we can talk about in a little bit. I just kind of want to get your preliminary thoughts.
Yeah. I mean, my gut reaction to the whole thing was definitely, you know, like, well, this kind of sucks. And not to, I guess, like, you know, try and make it all about the money and everything. But one of the important statistics that YouTube talked about was that, you know, like 99% of the channels that are affected by this make less than $100 a year. Mm-hmm. And based off of the last several months, we probably fall into that 1% that's making over, which is kind of sucky. And I mean, obviously, like, that's still not a lot. Like, nobody anywhere could really live off of that amount of money in a single year.
Yeah.
At least, you know, nobody with an internet connection and microphones and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But, hi, Zevran. Stop with the meowing. I love you too. Now be quiet. Anyways, cat is being needy.
The cat's upset about the YouTube thing as well.
Yes. But it definitely sucks that we're in that 1%, and like the entire idea of it is, you know, like a little disheartening. Just simply from the standpoint that, you know, sorry, another cat interruption. It is a little disheartening, and I don't want to make it sound like, you know, it's like, oh, well, you know, I'm not going to make any money, so I don't want to do it anymore. But it's at the same time like a little hard not to feel that way, at least a little bit. Yeah. And that is especially the case when taking into consideration the fact that, you know, we do have, you know, 600 some odd subscribers, but we're still averaging, you know, like 20 views on our podcasts, and then anything else that gets above and beyond that, like 96% of our views across the channel come from people who aren't subscribed.
Yeah.
Which means, you know, even like the Skyrim videos and everything, like the vast majority of people that are watching that are not our subscribers.
Yeah.
And that to me says that, like, we have a large subscriber base that maybe subscribes because they like, you know, one video, but then they never come back. And that's a problem that we need to figure out how to solve, and I don't know that there's necessarily an easy solution. We're still kind of actively brainstorming things, and we are going to continue, you know, doing podcasts and, you know, some extra videos here and there as time permits, which time for me is going to become scarce again, or not time so much as it is energy. Time as well, you know, in the coming months, just because, you know, if the wife and I are going to be looking into buying a house and everything, there are a lot of times where open houses can, you know, come up, and then we need to kind of try and figure out, like, when we're going to do that, and usually they're during our normal recording time, so.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I think for me, the disheartening thing comes from, I don't know what the future of YouTube holds. Like, I thought that everything was kind of like evening out a little bit.
Yeah.
And then, like, you and I have just started doing extra videos again because we've had time and we kind of had that motivation again to keep going, to grow the channel. And, like, you know, automatically we saw a boost to our subscribers. I think we got like an extra 30 than we normally do when we just put out the podcast. So, like, we just started doing that, and then bam, YouTube's changed the game. YouTube's changed what we're trying to reach for, and, you know, it's where, like, are they going to screw us over in the future? Like, let's say we do get to 1,000. Are they going to change it to 2,000 and 10,000 hours of watch time or whatever?
Yeah.
So it's sort of, that's what's demotivating. And I think that, like, that kind of brings into question for us is, like, why are we doing YouTube? And I think, like, because definitely over the course of the channel, it's like what we do has changed, obviously. Like, we started off with a Let's Play every day for a year. And while that was hard and difficult and stuff, it was still kind of fun to do. And now we're kind of solely a podcast channel, which is also fun to do, but it's not necessarily what we're passionate about.
Yeah.
So kind of to go off what you were saying, we're looking at how we can keep doing the podcast, kind of freshen it up a little bit, kind of bring a little bit more creativity to it, I think, because one of the things I don't like about the podcast is editing is just basically listen to it, cut out any, like, cat interruptions, and then upload it to the internet. And it's not like, it's not a fun creation process. Like, it's fun talking to you, and it's fun interacting in the comments, but like that middle step is just kind of like, ugh.
Yeah, it's more of like is there a way to automate this kind of? Yeah.
And like and before, like with the Let's Plays, it's like kind of towards the end of the Let's Play run on our channel, like we kind of started like editing them more and like adding a little flourish, and that was a lot of fun. But no one watched them, so we're just, like Ben said, we're just kind of like, we're looking at ways. Nothing's gonna change right away for us because time and just kind of like we want to be a little bit more deliberate with it and just make sure that everything we do is working towards the goal of having fun.
Yeah.
Because obviously we're not making money anymore. So.
Yeah. And in case anybody out there, specifically Viper the Red, since he interacts with us the most, is wondering, like whether or not we're going to outright stop or anything. I don't want to say that it's never a possibility, because I feel like that's always something that could happen. But right now it's not anything that we're looking at. If we do get to that point, what would most likely happen is, we would stop split couch games altogether. And maybe pick up on our own channels, and then like still have a podcast that one of us hosts or something like that. And just kind of do like a fresh start kind of thing. Just simply so the audience and everything can be refreshed and like from the ground up be built to do like whatever it is we're doing on our separate channels or something.
Because I think that we've talked about it on the channels that we kind of realized that we have like kind of 3 distinct groups of people on the channel. We have the people who subscribe for the Gears stuff, and then we have the people who subscribe for the Skyrim stuff, and then we have the people who like Viper, Curtis, he comments frequently.
Mainly here for the podcast and that kind of thing.
So we'll like we talked about that, was just kind of the idea behind the streaming, but the streaming thing never panned out because time. And
it turns out sitting down and streaming video games takes a lot of time.
And a little bit of energy. But anyway. So yeah, but yeah, like Ben said, we're not going anywhere yet. YouTube cannot destroy us yet. We still have a little bit of resolve.
And even if we do end up getting destroyed, it's going to be more of like a self-sacrifice than it is like YouTube kicking us down.
Yeah.
You know, like it'll be us like realizing we've kind of gotten our channel into a weird state where we have all these subscribers, but nobody's really watching anything.
Yeah, and I mean,
we need
the
to
important
fix
thing
that.
to remember is that PewDiePie has like 60 million subscribers, but he only gets like 2 million views a video. So like, this is not just like it's more noticeable for us because we're only getting 20 views a podcast.
Yeah.
But like, it's a problem for every channel is that like they're not reaching all their subscribers.
Sure. I mean, you know, obviously, you know, like PewDiePie isn't out there getting like 60 million views on every single video or anything.
I bet he wants to. That'd be great.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody would want that. But I mean, I don't know. And that's part of like what we just kind of need to evaluate and talk about is like, you know, are we still reaching an audience that cares about our content, or is it mainly just, you know, people clicking on to our content from outside of our subscriber base and they watch maybe 2 minutes and leave?
Yeah.
And the analytics only help so much in that regard, I think.
Yeah.
So
let's actually, this might be a good point to ask. We're 18 minutes into the video. If you've stayed for this long, or you have been watching for a while, like Viper, Curtis, leave us a comment and kind of tell us like what made you stay. If that, and like maybe like what caught your attention, what made you stay, and then like maybe that'll help us more than the analytics will.
Yeah,
for sure.
Maybe. Who knows?
I mean, maybe it won't. Maybe it'll just be like, I was bored and I forgot to turn this off.
There's going to be one guy who just comes in, we've never heard from him before, and it's just going to be like, kill yourself. And be like, okay.
I mean, we're going to take all the data and then we'll figure out what we're going to do. But yeah. So really quick, I mentioned that I have like a solution for YouTube. Like, it's not even a solution. It's like, so like, again, like, I understand that they want to cut out the people who just start a channel to like make a quick buck, and like I get that. Yeah. But I mean, for almost 2 years now, like we're coming up on our 2-year anniversary. We clearly are like dedicated. Like, you know, first year we had like over 400 videos. Second year, like we definitely cut back, but I think made better videos. Like we're clearly in, and I think like that reflects in like the fact that we're in that 1% of ad revenue, right? Like even though like we're below their threshold, we are that 1% that's doing better than everyone else, is because we are dedicated. And I feel like there's a way for YouTube to recognize that with their algorithm or whatever, that like, hey, these guys are actually putting that effort in. They're not succeeding, but they're putting the effort in. They're making videos that are not just, you know, stealing content or whatever. And you know, I feel like other channels are in that boat as well, that could be grandfathered in or whatever. I don't know. It seems like it's a very blanket coverage when it doesn't need to be.
Yeah, I mean, it is a pretty blanket, but for them, you know, assuming the 99% statistic is correct, I feel like that is a fairly accurate blanket, and we can't really be upset that we happen to get caught on like the tail end. You know, especially considering that, you know, I don't want to say that we're not close, but we're not exactly like right there on the line of, you know, the 1,000 subscriber mark or anything like that. So
yeah, so I guess like, I mean, part of that statistic though is that like there's the channels that uploaded like one video, monetized it, and then never did anything else. Yeah, and like that's probably, I would guess, like 50% of it at least. Like 50% of those channels.
I mean, maybe. There's not really any way for us to know. I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of people that, a lot of like young kids maybe that set up like a camcorder or something and record their screen, and then they throw up those videos, and then when they are old enough or come to the realization that they could be making money off of it, they're just like, oh yeah, and then they turn that option on. And then, a couple weeks later, they realize, I don't want to do this, and stop, but their videos are still sitting there monetized.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I just, like, I get the blanket aspect of it, and I'm not necessarily, like, upset about it. I'm just, it seems like it could have been a little bit better. Like, I don't know. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, my gut reaction to the entire thing was obviously kind of, like well, this sucks. Like, what the hell, YouTube, why? But taking a step back and looking at it and everything, I feel like it makes a lot of sense. I feel like assuming their statistic is right and it wasn't just something they made up to appease the, people that were upset, I feel like they probably did as best of a job as what they could without coming up with like some super obscure requirement, where it's like, oh, in order to monetize, you need 732 subscribers and 1,897 minutes of daily watch time or something. Like,
well, I mean, it doesn't have to be that ridiculous, but it could be like something like, hey, it could be like you have this requirement, or you have 500 subscribers and like 300 videos over the last year or something. Like, not necessarily that, but like 150 videos over the last year. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
I don't know. Like I said, problem. I don't know. It. Yeah,
like I said, I mean, I feel like they did the best job that they could in all reality, and the fact that we've had the opportunity to do it at all really is more than what most of the YouTubers that you and I watch nowadays had to begin with. Yeah, because I mean, because back in, I think it was like back in 2014 is when they really loosened up the belt on becoming a YouTube partner and monetization and everying.
Might have been 2013.
But yeah, 2013, 2014, something like that. And there are a lot of YouTubers that I watch that, I'm sure everybody's heard this story a million times, but, it's like they didn't get the chance to make any money, for the first several years. And then even then, it's like when they were able to, it was, pennies on the dollar. And, they weren't able to actually, like, make a living out of it until, like year 5 of doing it or something like that. So, I mean, I get it, and it makes sense. It sucks, but I feel like they did the best that they could with the tools that they have. And when it comes to goals and everything, so, like if I sat down and created a YouTube channel today, like it would make more sense for me to see, it's like, okay, 1,000 subscribers and this, the amount of watch time, as opposed to a laundry list of like really weird requirements. I feel like those, like nice solid round numbers, even if they are higher than what most people want, are nice goalposts. And I mean, realistically, at the end of the day, YouTube is a business for Google. Like, the fact that anybody is able to make any money off of it is completely just Google being nice, because like they don't have to pay anybody.
Yeah,
and
but then no one would make the content or at the frequency or whatever.
well,
So-
yeah,
But yeah,
I
see
mean,
what you're saying.
I get that it's a necessary evil, but I mean, my point is just simply that, like, when Google is, shelling out essentially like an extra quarter for every dollar that it sends out to people, let's say, and there are 10 million people that make $1 a year, then they have to, shell out $2.5 million to send these people a single dollar, when in reality, like, they aren't making that much money off of that ad revenue from those people. So it's a sunk cost at that point.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it makes sense that they would want to try and, like, curtail that a bit so that, like, okay, the goal is now you have to have, like, an established channel and be consistent, and then we start paying you, because at that point you are no longer a sunk cost. Yeah. And if I remember correctly, like, Google for the last several years has reported that YouTube is a sunk cost business. Like, it is constantly bleeding money.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that they would want to take some steps to try and address that, and I feel like they took the best and easiest step that they could without going like, well, now everybody by default has 3 ads on their videos.
3 ads. Yeah.
But they still only get paid for 1.
All right. I think we covered that. So speaking of paying stuff, $70.
Yes.
Okay. So it's some cardboard.
Yes.
It does come with a game, though.
Yes.
Kind of like a mini game.
Yeah.
That kind of like ties into what you do. Like, there's like a fishing game for the fishing pole or something like that, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay, so my understanding is that there's, like, packs. Like, I think the, like, piano one, and then the fishing one, and one other of it, like, one of it's like a 3-pack or something. Like, those 3 all come together with, like, 1 game cartridge, and it's like $60. And then the robot one comes with only the robot one and the little game, and it's $70. And I'm not going to sit here and debate the quality of the little mini games, because obviously neither of us have played them, and there's, like, we can't judge that.
Yeah.
But what I am going to judge is their choice to use cardboard for a child's toy. Because
I'm gonna be honest with you. That one's that's a rough one.
No matter how you look at it, like, this is something that's going to get manhandled by children.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's going to be swung around and tossed around and fought over and everything. And unless they're planning on, the bulk of the cost is paying for the game, and then if, Timmy tore the fishing pole in half, what do we do? Oh, I can order another one online for $1. Like, unless that's their plan, I don't see how this is a good thing. And I feel like people are letting Nintendo essentially get away with it because it's Nintendo.
Yeah.
Like, if Microsoft pulled this shit, they'd be crucified.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, when I first saw it, I was like, oh, that's kind of fun. Like, do a little crafts project with your kid and get them kind of, like, interested in, like, working with their hands and, like, creating things.
Yeah.
$7 is a lot to do that when you could just, like, create your own art project.
Yeah. Go buy a big old thing of cardboard and then teach them how to be careful with an X-Acto knife.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's one way of doing it.
But yeah, I don't know.
But yeah,
I mean, it's It's a little absurd, and we could probably talk about it.
Like, it's probably going to sell, like, millions of dollars.
Like crazy. Well, sure, yeah, because it's marketed towards kids, and kids are going to be like, I want this, and then mom and dad are going to be like, are you crazy? And then they're going to whine and complain, hi, well, okay, so, Isabella.
So, kids wanting that. Am I crazy, or, like, when I was a kid, let's just say, like, hypothetically, like, when I had a GameCube, they were like, yeah, we're giving you, like, cardboard attachments to put on the thing. I wouldn't care. I wouldn't want that. Is that just me, or is it because, like, the touchscreen, like, the handheld aspect?
I think it's because you're from a different generation that isn't constantly being spoon-fed gimmicks.
Okay.
I mean, that's pretty much what it boils down to, and you're probably just not the type of personality that feels like they need a physical thing to hold on to in order to use their imagination. But I mean, they also don't, because like my first thought was that they worked pretty much exactly like the Wiimote attachments from back when the Wii was, still a thing, and you could like put the Wiimote in a tennis racket while you're playing Wii Tennis, and ooh. But looking at the videos and everything a little more in depth, that's not the case. Like, it's a little more complicated than that. So like you actually need these things in order to play the game, as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, like I was trying to say earlier, we could probably talk about this like way in depth if we really wanted to for like 15-20 minutes. But I don't want this to be an hour-long podcast because it already takes my computer like 4 hours to render out a 30-minute video. So
did you... Okay, well, speaking of Wii Tennis, you reminded me. There was a GIF on Imager of these people playing Wii Tennis, and they like... It was just the actual gameplay, but like they figured out a way to like really like mash the tennis rackets. So they literally just got up to the net and they were just like flailing around, like repeatedly, just like hitting the ball back and forth really really fast. Sometimes they would get past one and their partner would pick up the ball, hit it, it would start again. It went on for like 2 minutes. It was like a 2-minute long GIF before someone finally won, and I was like, "What the fuck is happening?" Anyway, yeah. Anyway, so let us know your guys' thoughts on these topics, whether you think YouTube overstepped or that it's a reasonable choice, what you think of Nintendo Labo. But most importantly, let us know what you guys think of the podcast, what you would like to see, maybe like some way that you guys could find for us to get better engagement from other people, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, everything he said. And if you want us to talk more about Nintendo Labo next time, then let us know that too.
And I'm going to announce this without talking to Ben, and Ben can deny this, but we'll have hopefully an update on what our plans are and how we're going to change things by the time of our 2nd anniversary in mid-February. And we'll have a vlog up announcing those. Yeah.
Let's shoot for that.
Yeah. And if we don't, we'll have a vlog saying that we don't have any plans yet. So there will be a vlog on our 2nd anniversary, which is the February 15th? 16th?
Maybe? I don't know. It's somewhere in there.
Yeah, we'll double check that. And yeah, so we'll see you guys next time on Split Couch Games.
Bye.
Bye.